Correct, Zach.
Hi, welcome to our podcast. My name is Zachary Mortensen, the other half of the Morty Bros. We're going through our NFL season predictions. I'm going to take you week by week through what I think will unfold during this NFL season. So let's break it down and go through these weeks. Week one, I have the reigning AFC South champions going into Lucas Oil and beating the Colts. They have a decent defense, the Colts, but I don't believe that Gardner Minshew or an inexperienced Anthony Richardson will be able to break down the D of the Jaguars. I also believe that my Browns will win week one against the Bengals. I know it all really just depends on the play of Deshaun Watson and if he is accurate and if he returns to his form. So this is just a big if. But I think with the meshing over the offseason, having been able to have those 6 games before a full offseason program, preseason work that should be coming up, I don't see why he shouldn't be able to win week one at home in the dog pound with 70,000 fans supporting him. And Ravens, Texans, it's pretty self-explanatory. The Texans did get Will Anderson, but I don't really see much of their D except for maybe Derek Stingley. I feel that Lamar Jackson will be able to run all over this defense. If that's their game plan, they might be trying to get away more of that with their new offensive coordinator, just to mitigate the health risks long term of a running quarterback, especially with this new large scale contract that he has coming up that he just signed in this offseason. The Broncos, Raiders, I think Russ starts to cook, and the Raiders are just a sorry excuse for a franchise. Anything that can go wrong normally does go wrong for them. I see that trend continuing throughout here in week one as they lose to the Raiders. Broncos. We then go to an interdivisional matchup between the Chargers and the Dolphins. I feel that the Chargers will win, even though it will feel like a road game for them because they have no fans. I just feel that their offense should be able to power through if it is healthy, especially they're not going to have Jalen Ramsey for the first few weeks of the season. I think that if they have a healthy Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they should be able to get what they need done on the outside. And then they got Eckler to do what they need to do. And then they got Bosa and Derwin James leading that defense. Jets, Bills. I would say this might be one of the top matchups of this week. Very excited to see what Aaron Rodgers does here with the Jets. He is reunited with Nathaniel Hackett, his coordinator with it when he had his last couple of MVPs, and he is getting a more talented offense around him than we saw in Green Bay. Actually, having some reliable receivers like Garrett Wilson, and bringing over threats that he is familiar with in Alan Lazard. I think that they should be able to bring it out at home. The Jets fans, I know that they're very passionate. I think that they'll be able to help their team win against the Bills. Now, the Lions and Chiefs. The Lions, I think that they're going to have a really good season. They almost made the playoffs. If they would have beaten the Seahawks, they would have been in it. They did play spoiler to the rivals, Green Bay Packers, but I just feel with the whole city of Kansas City going in there, ring ceremony, they're just going to go out there and they're going to win. But it's going to be a tight game. I feel that it could come down to whoever has the ball last or whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. But I have the Chiefs riding out on this one. Now, the 49ers Steelers will be interesting. We don't know yet who the starting quarterback for the 49ers will be. Will Trey Lance or Brock Purdy be healthy? I know that they stated previously that Brock Purdy would be their quarterback, but will he be healthy? I'm not 100% sure who their backup would be, but I just believe that their defense and the scheme capabilities and the offensive mind of Kyle Shanahan will just be able to out maneuver and out coach Mike Tomlin here in Pittsburgh. Uh, week one, Titans Saints. We saw it last year. The Titans fizzled out. Yes, they did get DeAndre Hopkins, but that was pretty much it. I would say in terms of really impactful additions that they had that we will see. I think that team is really just Derrick Henry, Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, and maybe D Hop, but they don't necessarily have a consistent enough quarterback play that I could see unless Tannehill has a bounce back season. I don't necessarily think we saw enough from Malik Willis last year, and we don't know if Will Levis, if he does step in as a rookie, what kind of performance he'll be able to construct and put up. So I have the Saints with Derek Carr coming in, still having some really good weapons, getting Chris Olave. Alvin Kamara will be out for the first 3 games, but as of today, it looks like the Saints are signing Kareem Hunt, so he and Jamal Williams should be able to carry those duties out pretty formidably until Kamara gets back. And they also seem to be have signing Anthony Barr to help stack up that defense that they have with Cameron Jordan. And then the Eagles, Patriots. I just think the Eagles will just continue their dominance from last year. Uh, I know they did lose some players, Miles Sanders. They lost Edwards, their one of their linebackers. But I think their experience, their hunger after their disappointment from last year. Oh, they also lost Javon Hargrave to the 49ers. I think that they'll just come out with a hunger and thirst ready to conquer and show the league that they're still top competitors, top dogs. That one performance, how they let it slip, is not going to define who they are as a team, and let diminish what they can accomplish going forward this season. Now, just to strictly NFC games, I see the Commanders winning. I think either if they have Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, they should be able to beat most likely Colt McCoy because we haven't heard much of anything in terms of solid information of recovery for Kyler Murray. Hopefully he can get recovered because he's an electric, exciting player to watch. Uh, but until he comes back, I don't really see much coming out of this Cardinals team. They did release DeAndre Hopkins as well, so their offense should um, not be as good or consistent as it was in past years. I feel that even if they Desmond Ritter or Taylor Heineke will beat Bryce Young in his first game, I just feel that going on the road in his first game against the Falcons, who quietly had a pretty decent season last year. I believe they were 7-10. Had several close games against good opponents that they did win. I feel that they are more of a complete team right now, not necessarily in terms of talent, but I feel that they will pull out against the Panthers at home in Atlanta. The Vikings and Buccaneers, I don't think that Baker Mayfield has really shown enough in camp and I don't have faith in Kyle Trask to go beat Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. I know that they did lose Dalvin Tomlinson and Za'Darius Smith, so they're up front. They aren't as deep and thick as they were before, but they should have an easy task here against the Buccaneers. And here, when it comes to the Bears, Packers, I kind of see a reverse of what we had previously with Aaron Rodgers being the daddy of the Packers. I kind of see Justin Fields kind of taking over that. Uh, you know, we even had Jordan Love saying Happy Father's Day to the Bears fans, implying that the Bears are indeed his daddy. So I just think that the Bears, with their additions, they had like Tremaine Edmonds, Edwards from the Eagles as well. I think that their defense will be better. They also got DJ Moore. They also got that line better so that they can protect Justin Fields and he can make electric things happen when it breaks down, and he should be able to have more time to make these throws. And then their all run game with Khalil Herbert and their new draft pick should be able to pick up. They did lose David Montgomery to the Lions, but their run game should be able to get better with the improved offensive line that they have this year. Seahawks versus Rams. I don't know how healthy Cooper Kupp or Matthew Stafford would be. And we saw the Seahawks have a pretty good season. Geno Smith being a Pro Bowler, throwing for over 4,000 yards. Electric play from DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett getting all those deep balls. And promising play from Kenneth Murray down the stretch. And they did get Zach Charbonnet, so they should have a good, nice rotation of fresh backs coming in, doing different things to switch it up to confuse the defense. They did get Bobby Wagner back from the Rams. I just feel that with the Rams also losing Jalen Ramsey, that they won't be able to keep up with the Seahawks here in week one. And then here on our first Sunday night football of the year, we have the Giants versus the Cowboys. I just feel that the Giants under Daniel Jones are more of a cohesive unit, that they more are able to get what they need done than the Cowboys, who are pretty dysfunctional and disorganized in their approach. As you can see with Dak Prescott's poor decision making, either coming in second or first in the league in interceptions last year, costly ones in certain games. I just don't see them beating the G-Men at MetLife, because I know that football fans in New York, they love their teams, and as much as they love to say the Cowboys are America's team, I really don't see it. You don't really go around America and see Cowboys, no. So I just feel that the G-Men will pull it out. So those are my week one predictions. Here in week two, we'll start off here in the AFC. I have the Chiefs on a mini bye coming off their Thursday night game at home, going to Jacksonville and winning. I then have the Bengals and the Bills both winning at home against the Ravens and the Raiders. I have the Chargers beating up on the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. And I have the Colts beating the Texans. This one should be a close game. Two teams that weren't that good last year, both getting new starting quarterbacks. The Colts, I know, are more talented. They had injuries last year, especially to Shaquille Leonard. They expect him back to be healthy, but we'll also see what to make of Jonathan Taylor, the 2021 NFL rushing leader. If he's able to come back from his injury that he was plagued with last year. And then I have the Dolphins winning against the Patriots. I just think that Tyreek and Waddle will be able to run around and get open. All of this is presuming Tua stays healthy. Hopefully he does. He is a hell of a player who makes great plays. And then on Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh, I have the Cleveland Browns going in and beating the Pittsburgh Steelers at Acrisure Stadium. This one could go either way. This one, when the Browns normally win, they normally don't win in Pittsburgh. I feel that they'll have their first win in Pittsburgh since the 2020 wild card game where they won 45-38. And then to the intra-conference games, I have the Jets beating the Dallas Cowboys here in Dallas. And then I have the Broncos. Russ continues to cook against the Commanders. We'll see if the offensive line for the Broncos will be able to keep up with the intensity of the line that the Commanders will bring forth with Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, Chase Young if he's healthy. And then the Eagles just continue their regular season dominance here Thursday night at home. Can't really trust primetime Kirk Cousins. Analytics and the stats will tell you that he does not do or perform well. It'll be in Philly. They'll probably be throwing batteries on the field. So I feel that the Eagles will be able to come out with a win. Buccaneers, Bears. Justin Fields should be able to create enough offense, and the new defense with the new addition should be able to hold pat either Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield, whichever one they end up deciding with going out of camp. Then I have Jordan Love winning his first game against the Falcons in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It'll be interesting to see how well he adapts. He was under Aaron Rodgers for the first 3 years of his career. We'll see if he's ready to shine, see if he's just been able to learn how to be a pro and how to be a quarterback just by watching one of the greatest of all time do it and be at his best for 2 of those 3 years as well. And then I have the Lions beating the Seahawks at Ford Field off of a mini bye after they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs the week before against the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They should be able to get their revenge for last year. Game that was pretty high scoring. I kind of see the same here. Both teams have pretty good offenses that should be able to throw the ball down the field pretty well, and we should see how well Jahmyr Gibbs does and how they utilize him, especially with also signing David Montgomery. The San Francisco 49ers then go to SoFi Stadium and beat the Rams. Whoever they have starting at this point should be able to beat the Rams, even if they are healthy. Their defense is just very superior. They got Charvarius Ward on the outside, but they got killers on the inside, hard hitters. They got Nick Bosa on the edge, Eric Armstead. They got Fred Warner up in the middle, manning it all. Well, one of the geniuses of the game. He goes all over the field. He can do pretty much anything. And I have the G-Men winning in the desert. Nothing really impresses me about this Cardinals team at all. I don't think that James Conner's really going to do that well. He does have the red zone efficiency, but I just don't see them getting into the red zone enough with just Colt McCoy most likely being their starting quarterback to start off the season. And then the Saints with Derek Carr, they should be able to win on Monday Night Football against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. It would be an interesting game to see how Bryce Young performs on possibly the biggest stage since his national championship game against Ohio State, which he did excel. So we'll see how he does here and performs under these bright lights. But he is certainly no stranger to it, going up against top opponents his whole career at Alabama and in tough environments all throughout the SEC. Then on to week 3. I have the Cleveland Browns beating the Tennessee Titans. The Cleveland Browns are very much improved uh, up front. Just recently, as of yesterday, as of today being 8/10/2023, signing Shelby Harris along with the additions of Dalvin Tomlinson, trading for Zadarius Smith on the outside and getting Agbania Okoronkwo, in addition to drafting Siake Ika and getting veterans in Mo Hurst and Tristan Hill. They should be able to clog up the middle and make it hard for Derrick Henry to cook. He won't necessarily be king in this game. I just don't think that Ryan Tannehill will be able to take, or Malik Willis or Will Levis will be able to take enough of that offensive focus off of him and put it on the outside to keep it away from Derrick Henry. And they should lose in Cleveland. And then I have the Jaguars just overpowering it with their aerial offense. Uh, this should be the third week that they have in season with Calvin Ridley. We're interesting to see how he has gelled with Trevor Lawrence. We have previously seen him get 1,400 yard receiving yard season. So I think that he'll be able to excel, especially with having Kirk on the outside and a pretty good tight end in Evan Ingram, being able to take a focus from the defense, so then he can get open and work. And then I have the Battle of Baltimore in Baltimore. The Ravens should be able to win. I would say, regardless of whichever quarterback the Colts or even the Ravens throw out there, the Ravens should be able to just overpower the Colts offense with their suffocating D. I feel that this game won't be that close. It'll be a pretty convincing win for the Ravens. Now, one of the most interesting games I think we have this week is the Miami Dolphins versus the Denver Broncos. I feel that in that September heat, where it's probably 80 degrees for the Dolphins, 100 degrees for the Broncos, they'll be going out, they'll be tired. Uh, it'll be a pretty decent offensive game. I feel that both quarterbacks will be able to shine, but I think it'll be a battle of attrition, and I feel that the Dolphins will be better suited in this hospitable environment to come out with a victory than the Denver Broncos. The Jets, I have beating the New England Patriots at home at MetLife Stadium. Aaron Rodgers continues to mesh and gel with his new teammates, continues to win, which we've seen pretty much throughout his whole career, except for, I would say, last season or when he's been injured. He with the team that he has around him, he doesn't need to be the MVP caliber player he needed to be to excel like he did with the Packers to go places. And the offense, it will just be too much for the Patriots to handle.
It's also the first time they would beat them since 2015.
It'd also be the first time that the Jets would beat the Patriots since 2015 as well. And then I have the Steelers going into Allegiant Stadium, beating the Las Vegas Raiders. This game should probably be close, but it could be anywhere from like a 10 to maybe like a 13-point game, just depending on which team is in flow. I just feel that the Steelers are just a better team. I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo will be able to win with everything that he has around him, because when he has won, he has had immense talent around him, especially on the defenses that he had, especially the San Francisco teams. And then I have the Buffalo Bills going into quite arguably, if not the worst stadium, at least since the Raiders moved from Oakland, in FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. The Buffalo Bills should win as long as they don't get drenched with sewage on the way out. I think that they should win. And then the Chargers should win in Minneapolis against the Minnesota Vikings, even though they're having that short bye after going up on Thursday Night Football the week prior. Justin Herbert should be able to pull it out. Patrick Mahomes continues to win at home. Just in general, winning here against Justin Fields and the Bears. And then I have the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium beating the Los Angeles Rams. For the NFC, I got 49ers beating the G-Men. The Lions convincingly beating the 49ers. Derek Carr winning against Jordan Love in Lambeau. I have Geno Smith, the DK, winning against Bryce Young and the Falcons at Lumen Field. And I have the Cowboys going into Arizona and winning. Dak probably putting on a pretty good game. But I don't know if it'll be very convincing. We'll see if he continues to throw the ball away. I have erroneous mistakes. And then I have the Eagles beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. In week 4, we got some pretty big matchups in divisions. So we start off here in the AFC East, where I have the Buffalo Bills leading the Miami Dolphins at home. Josh Allen is just able to thread the needle downfield. The Dolphins secondary should still probably be diminished with injuries at this point. I have the Browns beating the Ravens at home. I have the Steelers beating the Texans in Houston. I have the Bengals beating the Titans. I have the Raiders beating no, I have the Raiders losing to the Chargers. And then I have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the New York Jets. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Atlanta Falcons, their first week of 2 consecutive weeks that they will be playing in London. This one, they're designated as the home team. And then I have the Colts beating the Los Angeles Rams at Lucas Oil Stadium. Anthony Richardson looked pretty good in the first preseason game, minus that interception that he had. It almost started the needle for a pretty good touch on Alec Pierce. He's still hasn't proven himself in an actual regular season game, but if his preseason is anything to indicate of his growth and his ability, the Colts should be in good hands going forward. And then I have the Broncos beating the Bears at Soldier Field. And then I have the Cowboys beating the New England Patriots at AT&T Stadium. On to the NFC. I have the Detroit Lions going into Lambeau. Jared Goff, I think, will probably throw for about 300 yards in this game against the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. And then Bryce Young and the Panthers and Adam Thielen will face his former team in the Minnesota Vikings at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. The Panthers, I see pulling this one out. A close game that could go either way, but I see the Panthers pulling it out. And then I have the Eagles convincingly beating the Commanders in Philadelphia. And I have the Saints and 49ers winning at home. The Saints playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Niners against the Cardinals. And the Giants will be beating the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. and Danny Dimes will throw a couple dimes in there. Might rush for a touchdown. As long as he doesn't trip on himself. That's always the goal with him. Will he trip himself up, whether it be interceptions for decision making or actually tripping himself up when he runs? That's other than that, Danny Dimes can be pretty good. Pretty fun player to watch. It doesn't necessarily need the best receivers around him. Continue, but on to week 5. The Jaguars will lose their first game in London. First game that they lose that's in London. The second game, they're designated as the road team against the Bills. I see the Bills pulling out, and then the Colts get their work done against the Tennessee Titans at home, and Kenny Pickett is able to pick it apart. The Ravens D. Here I have Russ cooking up against the Jets. Nathaniel Hackett will have the last say. Just kidding. He won't because he left. Damn it. I have the Broncos beating the Jets. And then I have the Dolphins beating the G-Men. And then the Falcons beating the Texans. The Saints beating the Patriots. The Bengals beating the Cardinals. The Chiefs beating the Vikings. And I got the Packers beating the Raiders. I have the Bears going into Landover, Maryland, and beating the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football. And then I have the Detroit Lions beating the Carolina Panthers at Ford Field. And then I have the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Los Angeles Rams. And the 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys once again. And then the Browns, Chargers, Buccaneers, and Seahawks were on a bye. And then in week 6, we have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Denver Broncos. And then I have the Baltimore Ravens beating the Tennessee Titans in the United Kingdom. And the Jaguars beat the Colts in Jacksonville. The Raiders beat the Patriots in Vegas. The Dolphins beat the Panthers at home. And the Bengals beat the Seahawks at home. And the Browns lose to the 49ers at home. The Saints beat the Texans. The Eagles beat the Jets, which should be a good game. And the Bills beating the Giants and the Chargers beating the Cowboys should all be exciting matchups that week, along with the Browns, Niners, and Bengals, Seahawks. And then the Commanders go into Atlanta and beat the Falcons. The Detroit Lions beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bears win at Soldier Field against the Vikings. And the Los Angeles Rams beat the Arizona Cardinals. The Steelers and Packers were on the bye this week. Week 7. Ignore my shirt. I am rooting for the Browns this week. Browns will be beating the Colts at Lucas Oil. Convincingly, might I add. The Bills will beat the New England Patriots in Foxborough. And the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning Super Bowl champions, continue winning against the Los Angeles Chargers at home. The Jaguars take on the New Orleans Saints at Thursday Night Football at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. I see the Jaguars coming away with a win there. The Ravens beat the Lions at home at M&T Bank Field, and the Bears beat the Raiders at Soldier Field. The Steelers beat the Rams. The Broncos beat the Packers. The Eagles beat the Dolphins. The Buccaneers beat the Falcons. The Giants beat the Commanders. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals. And the 49ers beat the primetime Kirk Cousins led Minnesota Vikings. The Bengals, Texans, Titans, Jets, Panthers, and Cowboys are all on byes during week 7.
Oh, yeah, such a line of
Week 8,
I'm like that.
the Jaguars beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at Acrisure Stadium. The Dolphins beat the New England Patriots, and the Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The CJ Stroud led Texans will beat the Bryce Young led Panthers, showing everybody that CJ Stroud is the better quarterback. In my opinion, I think he should have gone number 1. The Jets beat the Giants. Both technically are playing at their home stadium, but the G-men are the designated home team. The Jets will be coming off of a bye week. I see Aaron Rodgers beating Danny Dimes in the Battle of New York. The Saints in the rematch of Super Bowl 44 beat the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Tennessee Titans, coming off of their bye, beat the Atlanta Falcons, and the Seattle Seahawks, led by Geno Smith with Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK, Tyler Lockett, and Kenneth Walker with the return of Bobby Wagner will be too much for the Browns to handle.
Right now.
The Ravens will be beating the Cardinals. The Bengals beat the 49ers as they come after their bye. The Chargers beat the Bears. And the Lions beat the Raiders. Eagles beat the Commanders. Vikings beat the Packers. And the Rams lose to the Cowboys after they come off their bye. Nobody's on the bye this week. On to week 9.
It's a long drop.
Thursday Night Football, I have the Steelers beating the Titans. In Deutschland, I have the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Miami Dolphins. The Bills will be beating the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. And on Monday Night Football, the New York Jets will win at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. The New England Patriots are able to fend off the Washington Commanders at home. So are the Browns are able to fend off the Arizona Cardinals at home. The Seattle Seahawks in the Battle of the Birds beat the Baltimore Ravens, on the road in Baltimore. The Houston Texans beat the who knows, Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Indianapolis Colts beat the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte, and the G-men beat the Raiders in Vegas. The Vikings beat Atlanta in Atlanta. The Bears go into New Orleans and beat the New Orleans Saints. The 49ers beat the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau, and the Cowboys lose to the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. The Jaguars, the Broncos, Lions, and Niners are all on byes during week 9. On to week 10, I have the Baltimore Ravens winning at home against the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Houston Texans in Cincinnati. In back to Deutschland, we have the New England Patriots beating the Indianapolis Colts. Back in America, the Jets will beat the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Off the bye, the Broncos beat the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. The Jaguars beat the San Francisco 49ers in Jacksonville, and the Tennessee Titans go into Tampa Bay and win. The Pittsburgh Steelers are able to fend off the Green Bay Packers at Acrisure Stadium, and the Detroit Lions go into SoFi and beat the Chargers of Los Angeles. The Bears beat the Carolina Panthers on Thursday Night Football. The Vikings beat Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints in Minnesota. And the Falcons beat the Cardinals in Arizona. The Cowboys beat their rivals in the New York Giants at home. And the Seattle Seahawks beat the Commanders at home. The Dolphins, Chiefs, Eagles, and Rams are all on their byes. In week 11, the Ravens on Thursday Night Football beat the Baltimore Thursday Night Football in week 11. The Baltimore Ravens at home beat the Cincinnati Bengals. The Miami Dolphins beat the Las Vegas Raiders in Miami. The Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans in Jacksonville. And the Bills win at home against the New York Jets. The Texans beat the Cardinals. The Chargers beat the Packers. The Broncos beat the Vikings. And the Eagles get their revenge for the Super Bowl loss on Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bears beat the Detroit Lions in Ford Field. The Carolina Panthers beat the Cowboys at home. The Commanders beat the Giants at home. The Niners beat the Buccaneers at home. And the Rams went at SoFi against the Seahawks. The Colts, Patriots, Falcons, and Saints are all on bye in week 11. Week 12, we have the Jets winning on Black Friday against the Miami Dolphins at home. We have the Bengals beating the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The Texans lose to the Jaguars in Houston. The Browns beat the Broncos at Mile High. The Chiefs beat the Raiders in Vegas. The Ravens beat the Chargers in SoFi. The Giants beat the Patriots. The Colts beat the Buccaneers. The Panthers beat the Titans. The Eagles beat the Bills. On Thursday Night Football, the Lions went at home against the Packers. Thursday night Thanksgiving football. These are the three Thanksgiving games. The Cowboys win at home against the Commanders, and then the Seahawks beat the 49ers at home on Thanksgiving. The Saints go into Atlanta both after they both had a bye and come out with a win. And the Arizona Cardinals come away with a win against the Los Angeles Rams at home in Phoenix, and the Bears beat primetime Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football. And nobody has a bye. Week 13, the Chargers beat the Patriots in Foxborough. The Titans beat the Colts in Tennessee. The Broncos convincingly beat the Texans in Houston, and a pretty good game we should have here on Monday Night Football. We have the Jaguars against the Bengals. And we have the Dolphins going into FedEx Field beating the Commanders. The Steelers beat the Cardinals at home. So do the Jets with the Falcons at home. The Browns go into SoFi and beat the Rams. And the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Packers. On Thursday Night Football, the Seattle Seahawks should beat the Dallas Cowboys at home. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win at home against the Carolina Panthers. The Detroit Lions beat the Saints on the road in New Orleans at Mercedes-Benz. And the Niners beat the Eagles at Lincoln Financial. The Ravens, Bills, Raiders, Bears, Vikings, and Giants are all on byes week 13. Week 14. Steelers win on Thursday Night Football against the Patriots. The Jaguars go into Cleveland Browns Stadium and beat the Browns. Should be a pretty interesting and close game. You see Trevor Lawrence, who ended up replacing Deshaun Watson after he had been out for a year. Billy Bryant had been the quarterback the year prior, but he had been the one to replace him in the eyes of everyone, or at least historically, as he contributed a national championship for Clemson. The Steelers beat the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. I guess we already said that. The Jets beat the Houston Texans. The Bengals beat the Colts. The Bills beat the Chiefs. The Broncos beat the Chargers. The Dolphins beat the Titans. The Ravens beat the Rams. And the Raiders beat the Vikings. Falcons beat the Buccaneers. Lions beat the Bears. Saints beat the Panthers at home. The 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks at home. And the Cowboys beat the Eagles at home. And the Giants beat the Packers at home. And the Commanders are Cardinals are on their byes. Week 15, I have the Raiders beating the Chargers at home. The Steelers beating the Colts on Saturday, and the Dolphins beating the Jets in Miami. The Titans beating the Texans. The Jaguars beating the Ravens, and the Kansas City Chiefs beating the New England Patriots in Foxborough on Monday Night Football. The Cleveland Browns beat the Chicago Bears at home at Cleveland Browns Stadium. The Lions beat the Broncos at Ford Field. The Bengals beat the Minnesota Vikings, and the Bills beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Carolina Panthers beat the Atlanta Falcons. The Green Bay Packers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The New Orleans Saints beat the New York Giants. The San Francisco Giants then beat the San Francisco Cardinals. The Washington Commanders beat the Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Seattle. No one is on there by week 15. 16. We have the Steelers winning at home against the Bengals. The Chargers winning at home against the Bills. The Browns again beating the Texans in Houston again convincingly. The Broncos beat the Patriots, and the Chiefs beat the Raiders. The Jets beat the Commanders. The Falcons beat the Colts. The Seahawks beat the Titans. The Jaguars beat the Buccaneers. Cowboys beat the Dolphins. 49ers beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football. On Thursday Night Football, the Saints go into SoFi Stadium and win. The Bryce Young-led Panthers beat the Green Bay Packers. Then we have the Detroit Lions beating the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. And the Chicago Bears, or the Bears, win at Soldier Field against the Arizona Cardinals. And at Lincoln Financial Field on Monday Night Football on Christmas, we have the Philadelphia Eagles beating the New York Giants. On week 17, I have the New York Jets coming into Cleveland Browns Stadium. Aaron Rodgers is able to outduel Deshaun Watson on Thursday Night Football. It could go either way. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is able to pull something out special. Thursday Night Football, a last ditch drive, maybe even a Hail Mary to win it. Hopefully not. Hopefully the Browns win, but I do see the Jets coming out with a win that game. I see the Colts beating the Raiders, the Ravens beating the Dolphins, the Bills beating the Patriots, the Titans beating the Texans, the Chiefs beating the Bengals, Burrowhead my ass, and the Broncos beat the Chargers. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Carolina Panthers, the Seahawks beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cowboys beat the Lions, Eagles beat the Cardinals, Giants beat the Rams, 49ers beat the Commanders, Buccaneers beat the Saints, Bears beat the Falcons, and Packers beat the Vikings. No one's on their bye. And we go on to the last week of the regular season. And then we will look at the standings and go over the playoffs with my brother. The Jets go into Gillette Stadium and beat the New England Patriots. The Bills beat the Miami Dolphins in Miami. The Ravens beat the Steelers at home. And the Bengals beat the Browns at home. The Colts beat the Texans at home. The Jaguars go into Tennessee and take care of business. So do the Chiefs when they go to Los Angeles. And the Raiders lose to the Broncos in Las Vegas. The Carolina Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Commanders beat the Boys. The G-Men beat the Eagles. The Giants beat the Lions beat the Vikings. The Packers beat the Bears. Saints beat the Falcons. Seahawks beat the Cardinals. And 49ers beat the Rams. So these are the final season standings. So in your AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 15-2, 6-2 in the division. The Colts, they are the first seed. The Colts win 7 games. They lose 10. They're 3-3 in the division. They missed the playoffs. The Titans are 5-12, 3-3 in the division, and missed the playoffs. The Texans are 3-14, missed the playoffs. The San Francisco 49ers with 14-3 are the highest seed in the NFC and win the NFC West with a record of 5-1. The Seattle Seahawks make it as the second wild card team with a record of 12-5 with 4-2 divisional record. The Rams were 3-14 with a 2-14 divisional record, and the Cardinals were 1-16 with a 1-5 divisional record. And then the Kansas City Chiefs are 13-3, 5-1 in the division, winning the AFC West. The Broncos are 13-4, 5-1 divisional record, coming in, getting the second wild card. The Chargers missed the playoffs with a 9-8 record, 1-5 on the season against the division, and the Raiders are 3-14, with winning 1 out of 6 games in the division. The Lions win their division with a record of 13-4 with a 5-1 divisional record. The Bears are 11-6 with a 4-2 divisional record. The Packers, sorry, there's a G, there's a G. The Packers are 5-12 with a 2-4 divisional record, and the Vikings are 4-13 with a 1-5 divisional record. And then the Buffalo Bills win their division with a record of 13-4 with a 5-1 divisional record. The Jets make the playoffs at a 12-5 record, and they are 4-2 in their division. The Dolphins missed the playoffs with a 9-8 record with 3-3 in the division, and the Patriots are 2-15 with an 0-6 division record. The Cleveland Browns are 11-6 and win the division with a 4-2 division record. The Bengals come in with that last wild card spot, are 11-6 with 3-3 in the division. The Ravens barely miss out on the playoffs with a 11-6 record, going 3-3 in the division, and the Steelers going 10-7 are 2-4 in the division. And then the Saints are 12-5, winning their division, 5-1 in the division. The Panthers come in second with a 6-1 record, 2-4 in the division. Falcons are 5-12 with a 2-4 record in the division, and the Buccaneers are 3-14 with a 3-3 record in the division. So I'm just gonna go over through the playoffs with you guys.